What's up, guys? This is Trav back again with another episode of TravTalks. Today we're talking to Dustins MC again. Yes, again. It's happening again. It's a real thing. He's like my usual guest at this point, which is fine because. But it's funny because last time none of the stuff that we're gonna talk about in this episode had happened yet. So it's like honestly probably the more anticipated one this time. And because
my fiance sneezed.
Oh, okay, that's what that was. I thought it was you. I honestly thought you like put your face away and sneezed. But anyway, and hello to Trista, by the way, and her channel's amazing. Like her video about, which I didn't ever say my opinion or comment on it, and I actually meant to. I just kind of forgot, but I meant to comment on her video about like her background and everything, because that, like, by the end of the video I was already getting like teary-eyed. I was like, that's just because, you know, it was, I mean, she was making the video for the better and to help, and
right,
like everything she was talking about, like somebody somewhere has gone through that, and it just kind of, it hit home. It definitely hit home. I mean, and I'm sure it did for you as well, and just because she's your fiance now. What is this? What is this news?
Yes, so Trista and I are engaged.
Congratulations, by the way. That video was amazing.
Thank you.
That little video y'all took of it was like, okay. I was immediately regretful. I was like, I should have done something like that.
See, I really botched my proposal in the best way possible. Like, it still worked. Like, it wasn't terrible, but like anxiety and just there was so much going through my head, and it was so funny because leading up to it, I kept telling like my dad would call me every day, and he's like, "You nervous? You nervous?" I was like, "No, I'm not nervous." So, like,
obviously you're gonna be, you know.
Yeah, it was intense. Like, right before I knew I was going to do it, like, my legs were shaking, and that's how I knew it was bad. I was like, oh, man. And it wasn't like, I wasn't nervous about the fact that she was going to say no, because I knew she wasn't going to. I was more nervous about the fact that, like, I'm however many feet in the air, and I'm going to drop this ring. Like, it's going to roll away. I'm going to be, like, I'm going to open up. It's not going to be there. Like, that's what was going through my head. But before we get back on that subject, yes, Trista's video about what she talked about, it was very, it made me emotional, even though I've known what happened for a long time now, but still, like, seeing, you know, like, the pain on her face when she was making that video, like, it crushes me, you know, because obviously, like, I love her and I care about her, and it's not a moment I ever want her to relive again. But yeah, it was tough, but I want to tell her what you said. Travis said your channel is amazing, and your video about you being a survivor had him teary-eyed at the end.
Make more videos like that. That's all I'm gonna say is keep trying to help, because it's great.
Yes, she didn't even address everything in that video. There is so much more, and she is going to, over time, you know, as she gets more comfortable and feels that it's right time to talk about it, make more videos, more elaborate on what happened. But, you know, she's just kind of pacing herself, because that's a very hard thing to put out on the internet, just because you know, and I know how the internet can be. All it takes is one D-bag to get on there and say something like, oh, you know, whatever, like, you deserved it and whatever, what did you do to make him, you know what I mean? I don't ever want to see that, because I'll probably end up in jail.
Well, it comes with the territory, and me and you both know that. And it's just, it's just something it's like, they're not winning by saying what they have to say on the keyboard. Whenever I've said this before in another episode, is like, that's just not what somebody would most likely have the bravery to say in person. It's like, it's behind a keyboard. Never. It's the ego of, like, I can be brave because this person has no idea where I'm at, and all this stuff. And it's just, you know, right. It's just to be ignored, because I've learned through stuff like that love is always going to outweigh the hatred. Like, there's always going to be somebody that is affected by the same thing or whatever, and they're getting something from that. People that watch, and like women that watch that video, are gonna be like, you know, like, I went through the same thing, and maybe they haven't told anybody or whatever. It's a hey, like, speak out and be brave. It's okay. You know, it's amazing.
Right.
And yeah, totally inspiring all the way.
It is. Yeah, she is, and I tell her this all the time. Like, you know, Trista also has anxiety and has been depressed, and she self-doubts a lot. And I tell her, I'm like, you are literally the strongest person I know. Like, for you to go through what you have been through, and then to still be able to work your butt off and provide for 2 kids, you know, before I came around, like, that says something. You know, what you've been through can mess somebody up so bad and completely ruin their life. But the fact that you took that and, you know, are able to now make content and to turn it into something, like, that goes to show that, you know, you are a very, very strong person. Because I can tell you right now, if I was ever in her shoes and a female that went through exactly what she went through, I couldn't do it. There's no way. There's absolutely no way I would have been able to pull myself out of what she did.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's crazy.
You know, and that's just, life has that. Life has the people that try to ruin you and all that, you know, all that nonsense. But pulling through is
right.
The way that you kind of win it in a way. It's like, you know, you like finding a way, and if she did it for the kids, like, that's great, because kids always have this way of, like, giving you sort of like a reason, I guess. And I'm not a dad or anything, but that's what I've heard. One of my good friends, Tyler on Xbox, him and Cassidy, like, have been in a relationship, like, long distance on Xbox for, like, years, and they have twins now, and, like, they're living together and everything. And it's like
That's crazy.
Is like I would have never looked at them both as like, oh, they're gonna be great parents, like, because I never would have thought like, oh, they're gonna have kids, but like they are. It's like really weird, and like, and they're like meant to be parents. Like, you just never know with people, like, what they
right.
What they are underneath, I guess, is the most cliche way to say it, but it's true. And with Trista, she's marrying
it's weird,
a YouTuber,
man.
so it's like, it's kind of like, I'm glad that you inspired her to do it, because, like, with me, like, YouTube is what really got me social. It's what got me out of my shell, and, you know, and
exactly
if that does that for her,
we
then
talked about
that's
that
great.
before.
Because, yeah, like, yes, she seems like a shy person, and kind of like she, you know, like, I could tell that she tries to figure out how she's going to word things. But that's great, weird, because that's a start. That's what I'm trying to say.
You want to know what's weird, though? Is she is actually not a shy person by any means. Trista is very, very outgoing. I just think it's the awkwardness of being on camera. Like, she's not used to that. But Trista, like, every job she's had that has required her to have customer service, like, she's had regulars at old jobs that now come see her at her new job just because she's there. Like, they won't even go back to where they were eating every day. Like, they literally go to the new place she works specifically for her. And it's like, it's crazy. But she's really not a shy person. But, you know, we were all awkward on camera at first.
Yeah.
You know, trust me, I've watched some old TravTalks videos, man.
Cringe fest.
Serious question. Do you guys have Funko? Obviously, we have Funko Pops, correct?
Yes, I do.
Pop vinyls. Do you guys have the Endgame Chrome Hulks at your store?
I don't think so.
They're exclusive to
Nice.
Walmart, right? And I'm missing the blue and the green, and I can't find them here
I'll have to look for them.
because I'm willing to pay.
You're like
just
Travis,
need
if you don't freaking add that to the care package, I'm never gonna speak to you again.
You don't have to add it to the care package. It can be its own separate thing. I'll pay.
It's all
I'll
good.
pay. I'll pay for the price.
I'll try to look
for
for them. What is it again?
if you find them. The Avengers Endgame Chrome.
Oh,
Hulk
okay,
Pops,
yeah,
Funko
I've
Pops.
seen them. Like, so what colors again?
I'm missing I'm missing the blue and the green. That's it. And then I'll have all 6.
Okay, yeah, I've seen them there. They're pretty cool. They're not really my thing, but if they're yours, then yeah. For me, it's always like I just want like a regular character of whatever. I mean, they're a neat idea though.
Well, this is how I got started on them. My Walmart locally had them on clearance for $4. I would have never bought them, and I was like, well, dude, $4, like. That's stupid. Why I'd be stupid to walk away from it because they're going for like 15 to 20 a piece. But literally to buy the whole set, to buy all 6 together, it's like $250. I've got all 4 of mine for $4 each. Like, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. And the price has gone down on Pops recently, I do believe, because there's some other places that are a lot pricier, and Walmart's been selling them for like cheaper. But yeah, I've got a pretty decent collection.
My fiance just cracked open a Mountain Dew, not sponsored.
She's gonna Trista try it. All right, I don't even know what that Trista try it. How would I blend that?
Trista tries it. That can be. Listen, you send my care package finally after 6 years. and there's stuff in there. Trista's laughing.
Hey, here's the thing. I'm not gonna count the Mountain Dew labels anymore because here's the problem. They don't have like all I've ever been able to find is regular Black Label. Like nowadays, I actually been looking for white or green label because I love either one of those, and now all I can find is freaking black. So I'm just like,
I still never tried any of them.
Oh, I thought you said you had like I don't know. I thought you said I may have been somebody else, but I feel like somebody told me that they had tried only black because that was the only one they could find either. But
I haven't got to try any of them. But and, you know, I think like honestly, I've probably seen them when I was working in South Carolina, but like it was just never like my go-to pickup. Like it was just always something that completely slipped my mind. Like I'm the guy who's like, oh, it's just another Mountain Dew, like whatever. Like I'm gonna go to my go-to. Give me that vanilla Coke, dog. Like I don't want, I don't know. I've probably honestly seen it. I have been looking for the cinnamon Dr. Pepper, and I can't find it anywhere. Or the holiday Sprite.
You mean cinnamon Coke?
Is it cinnamon Coke or is it
Dr.
Pepper?
Cinnamon Coke and the freaking Winter Spice Cranberry Sprite.
I have not seen either.
Got a review on that if anybody wants to check it out. But okay.
Shameless plug.
So redirect to something else that Dustin brought to my attention, and which was kind of the center point of like, hey, like let's do another episode. Dustin actually came to me about this because he was excited, but yet like also it's kind of like on a negative note, I guess. But let's talk about that whole job thing that went down. Like I'm noticing you're home now, kind of.
Right.
Like I guess for long term or whatever you want to call it, and because I watched your video, like you in the hotel and talking about like the job and everything, and then it seemed like everything was going okay. Like you basically like just start us from like the beginning. You got this certain job, and then what happened? Like just start from like when and how you got it, and then. Because this was like after the last episode we did that all this happened.
I don't even think I got to mention that to you in the last episode that was even an option, the whole job thing. So
you were more celebrating the Marketplace deal, and that's
it was the Marketplace. Yeah. So I got a job working for an electrical company, but in like a construction setting. So it was Oh my God, excuse me. It was an industrial electrical company. So basically I was on a construction site in some factory in South Carolina. It was actually a carbon fiber plant called Teijin. It was like a Japanese carbon fiber plant, and their main base of operations was in South Carolina. So I have no electrical experience whatsoever, which is fine. Obviously that is a trade that takes a long time to learn. There's a lot to it. You have different types of electric. You have residential, which is more your home stuff. You have commercial, which you're looking at like small scale stores, like Walmart, Target, like that's commercial. And then you have like industrial, which is like big factories and plants, and like they're massive. So my buddy actually worked for this company. I'm not going to mention the company's name, but he worked for this company previously, and he had a family friend that has worked for the company for a few years, and he was like, the family friend was like, hey, look, I can get you guys this job, making this X amount of money, and everything else. And he's like, you got to go to South Carolina. And it was definitely like a lot to think about, obviously, like to just uproot my life and, go to South Carolina for this job that I have no experience doing, which I'm glad I took the job because I learned a lot. And I actually discovered like a career in my life that I want to pursue, which is doing electrical work. So we were promised, this is kind of where things went downhill. We were promised $16 an hour and $100 a day in per diem, paid weekly. That's a lot of money.
Dang.
That's like $1,200 a week. It's ridiculous. So I do everything, go take my drug test. I pass it, obviously. Thank God for GNC, because they definitely did not see the cocaine, molly, or meth in my system. I'm just kidding. I don't do any of that stuff.
I was like, wait, is he really about to say something drug related, like admitting there was some stuff in my system, but I got it out?
No. There was nothing in my system. I'm a clean person. I honestly hardly even drink alcohol anymore. I'm pretty sure we talked about my alcohol issues in the past, but whatever. So like I take my drug test, and the guy calls me. He's like, yeah, we're going to offer you $14.25 an hour and $70 a day in per diem. And I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of crappy. But then I was told, like, okay, like 90 days, it can bump up to 16 and 100. Okay, cool. Whatever. Shouldn't be that bad. And I mean, even still, $14.25 an hour plus $70 a day in per diem, that's a lot of money. And per diem alone, that's $350 a week. And the good thing about per diem is it's non-taxable. This is where also like things were really messed up, is we had to pay for the travel. We had to pay for hotel expenses. We rented a car because my friend's car that I went down there with, it wasn't going to make it long distance. He has an old grandma car. And my car, I didn't want to put the miles on it because I knew I'd be coming home a lot. And that was like 650 miles there, 650 miles back. So imagine driving 650 miles there, working 50 hours a week, leaving work 5:30 on a Friday, driving 10 hours home just to get there at like 5 in the morning, spend all day Saturday, and have to turn around and leave Sunday morning to drive back. That's a lot of wear and tear on a vehicle, and my vehicle's new, and I was like, I really don't want to do that. Plus, the job site was a little rough to get on. I mean, you're driving on clay and, like, mud and ruts and just gross stuff, because obviously there's construction vehicles in and out of there all the time, so it's all bumpy and nasty, and I just didn't want to damage my car. Makes sense. So we had to pay for a hotel, and we had to pay for a rental car, which that was expensive. I mean, like, between me and my friend, it was still, like, $350 each, and that was, like, the cheapest we could get it. So honestly, by the time that like that was paid for, and like my bills and helping out Trista and the kids and everything else, like, I was like practically working for free. And I could just kind of tell that like within the first couple days that the job site was poorly ran. And I thought it was my foreman at first. I'm like, this guy don't know what the hell he's doing. Like he is just walking away. Like I'm not hardly learning anything. Like if it wasn't for the two people I was with, I wouldn't have had any idea what was going on there. But the two people I worked with were great, and I'm actually good friends with them. Like I still talk to them. And they understand why I left and everything, which we'll get into. But here, it was my foreman's boss. This guy's called the Superintendent, and this guy was the biggest, I'm going to swear, just so you know.
It's all good.
Was the biggest asshole I have ever met in my life. And like I think it was like my first or second week there, somebody pulled a knife on this dude. And I was like, why? Like, because I've talked to him before. Like he was like checking in with the crew I was with, and he seemed like really cool. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then like I had to deal with him like personally, and I was like, okay, this guy's actually like an asshole. Like it all makes sense as why somebody pulled a knife on him. But obviously being on a construction site, it was a dangerous job. I mean, there's hundreds of other people there, different contractors there. There's constantly like giant moving vehicles and cranes and things swinging and falling. And like, you just have to really be aware of your surroundings, which is fine. Like obviously working construction, again, it's a dangerous job. There's risks involved. But some of the stuff they wanted me to do was absolutely ridiculous. Now, we had to use scissor lifts and like boom lifts there, obviously, to get the higher places. No big deal. Now, the company I was with, you were not authorized to use a lift if you did not have the proper lift training. So somebody from the safety management would have to come down and train you how to use the lift and sign off. Like, I have this little card and it had like a list of things and they had the initial next to it in order for me to be able to operate it. Because if I was caught on a lift and they're like, you know, hey, like, let me see your card, and they see that it's not signed off, I can lose my job. Immediate termination. So my first day there, these people wanted me to get on this lift. And I was like, no, I don't have the lift training. I'm not doing it. Because we also had this thing called stop work authority, which I've had to use a couple times, where you have the right to say, I'm not doing that because it's unsafe, or I don't have the proper training, or I don't feel comfortable, which is like a good thing to have, honestly, in any workplace like that. Another thing they wanted me to do, in the pouring down rain, like in the middle of a storm, they wanted me to I was working on the roof running conduit, which is just metal piping, and you pull wires through it. They wanted me on this wet roof, surrounded by metal beams, to get on an extension ladder that wasn't tall enough to reach the beam. This beam that they wanted me to get on was 18 feet above the top of the roof, and it was only 5.5 inches wide. They wanted me to walk across that beam to hook up a piece of pipe.
Yeah,
and I was like, no.
Very poor supervision.
Right.
Like,
and they're
that's
like, oh,
beyond bad.
Right. And I mean, okay, like doing the work, it's not bad. We have harnesses. There's things that we have these things called beamers that clamp onto the steel beams that you can tie your harness off to in case you fall. But the problem was, like I said, the extension ladder not reaching. So that would have been, I would have had to climb the ladder and I would have two people have to hold it. Well, if they're holding me up and that bottom slides out, I'm going face first down 18 feet into the top of the roof. Like, I'm either going to like get hurt or die. There's no way around it. And they're like, oh yeah, we're going to get you the proper extension ladder, like 24 foot, you'll be fine. Okay, if you give me the right extension ladder, I'll get up there and do it, no problem, I don't care. But if you're not going to provide me with the correct equipment, I'm not doing it. I'm not risking my life, because the next time my kids or my fiance see me, shouldn't be in the hospital or in a fucking box, dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it was just a lot to think about. And the superintendent that I was telling you about, the big jerk, the two people I was working with actually requested days off in November. The kid Philip that I was working with was like, he lived like an hour or 2 hours away. And he was like, look, man, like, I would just want to go move my camper and like just take a weekend off. Now he honestly, he requested a Friday off. And this other guy I worked with, his name was Tay. It was his daughter's birthday. And he was like, I want to go home on Saturday and like spend time with my daughter. I got to go all the way to Virginia. And this guy, the superintendent, rejected both of their days. Now, working weekends was not mandatory at all. It was voluntary. You did not have to do it. It was if you wanted to, but you didn't have to. And I had mentioned like, oh, like, well, what are we going to do about Thanksgiving? And this guy told me, he's like, you get one day. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you just get Thursday off. He's like, you have to be back to work Friday. And I was like, sir, I live 10 hours away. He goes, well, I don't know what to tell you. And I was like, okay. And he's like, nobody is getting any days in November off, even weekends. And I was like, well, my kids' birthdays are coming up and like they have a party. I'm going to it. He goes, if you go, then good luck coming back here to have a job, because you won't. Jeez. And like, I would like, at that point, I was just like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, who are you to tell me what I can and can't do on my days off? And it was like around that time, and then everything happened with this damn sledgehammer almost wiping people out. That was intense. I'll tell you about that in a second. But like, it just got to the point that like, I was so stressed out and like so just fed up with it. And like, dude, I was literally being pushed to the brink of pure insanity. And every time Trista would talk to me on the phone, either when I was on lunch or like after work, and she would keep asking, she's like, what's wrong? And I was like, no, I'm fine, because I didn't know what was wrong. And it really started to get to her. And when that guy said that to me, it finally clicked in my head, like, this place is what's wrong. Like, I literally hate working here. I can't stand it. Like, I can't do my job effectively because you're not providing us with the materials. And this whole time he's blaming it on my foreman, but it's not my foreman, it's him. He's failing to do his job, the superintendent is. And it's like, okay, it's like if we don't get production that he wants, then we get rode up. And if we get rode up, we lose our jobs. So it was a lose-lose situation. And I really thought about it, and I was like, listen, I don't care how much money they pay me. They can pay me $40 an hour, give me $250 a day in per diem. It is not worth my mental health. It is not worth
that's not
messing myself up
because you can make
and
better
like
money
going crazy.
elsewhere.
Exactly. And it was so bad
or just on a better construction site that has better supervision, because I've seen construction sites and heard of people that work for construction sites that are like, yeah, man, like, we're not allowed to do anything in the storms and blah, 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 and like all this stuff. Like, they have safety precautions. It's like this guy just wanted it done or die. Like, it was just like...
This guy did not know how to manage a job site. I
firmly
firmly
believe
he had
that. Poor direction. Who knows, you know?
I don't think this guy has ever done anything construction related in his entire life, because I mean, like, it's like, you know, I was only there for like a month, and I knew more than he did, and I went in there with no knowledge. Like, you know, like, people in my crew and other people would ask him questions, and he would just sit, like, look at you like you were stupid. It's like, well, you're the superintendent of this. Like, of all people, you should know what we're talking about. You should be able to answer our questions if we're confused. Like, if you're our boss's boss, then, like, what good are you if you can't give us any information?
Sounds like undercover boss like, or something. Like, he's the CEO and he went undercover and knows nothing. Like,
right. Well, he is the world's shittiest CEO, if that was ever the case. I can tell you that right now.
Well, a lot of CEOs, you know, if you ever watched Undercover Boss, like, I love that show.
It's a great show.
And, like, a lot of the times, the CEOs of those companies literally don't know, like, how to do, like, the small things. Like, they some of those guys, they grew up as, like, their dad was the boss or whatever of the place, right, and they were just kind of handed over the company. They've never actually had to work in the kitchen or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But, right, like, but, you know, that's a different story. But with this guy, I mean, you know, like, it just, like, and like you said, he didn't really do anything. I'm assuming he's just one of those guys that just kind of watched, and, like, he didn't really, because, like, whenever you're on a construction site like that, to me, it's like everyone should be helping out. You know, it's like...
He was a dickhead for absolutely no reason. Now, the rules there is because the foreman managed so many people. The foremen weren't allowed to, like, physically do the work. They had enough people on their crew. And to be honest with you, like, the job itself was not super physically demanding, and it was easy. If you can use hand and power tools and read a tape measure and have any sort of common sense whatsoever, you could do the job. But that job site was just ran so poorly. And I actually, like, my last day there, I was talking to a guy that has been doing electrical work for over 30 years and has been on numerous job sites with this company. And he told me, because he quit too. He was like, this is the worst job site I've ever been on in my 30 years of doing this. I have never been in a worse place.
So there's the proof.
Right. And it kind of sucks because, like, I really liked what I was doing, and it's something I want to continue to do. It really sucks that, like, my first experience was so bad. And the sledgehammer thing was, whew.
Well, let's talk about that. That's where I'm, like, most curious. It's just, like, almost accidentally hurt a person with it or what? Because, like, you told me a little bit of details, but, like, basically Dustin sent me, like, hey, I want to do an episode because of this, and he left me a paragraph of, like, all of this story just boiled down to one little paragraph, and I was like, oh, snap. Like, he's about to go insane.
Right. So, every week, they did a weekly safety walk where people from every different, like, the main safety person for every contractor was there, and there was one big company that kind of oversaw the whole project, and that company is called O'Neill, which there's different companies that do it, but O'Neill was, like, the big safety people. And, like, my contractor, like, my company, like, not only followed O'Neill's safety, but we had our own safety. Like, we could not be higher than, like, if we were on the 4th step of a ladder, we had to have a harness on and be tied off. That was just company rules. You can't be any more than 4 feet up in the air without a harness. O'Neill's is 6 feet. Whatever. It's 4 feet. It wasn't a big deal. But, like I said, there was lifts, like scissor lifts. And most of the scissor lifts there went up to like 80 feet, which 80 feet up in the air, is, it doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're actually 80 feet up in the air and you're looking down, it's kind of like a holy shit moment.
Dude,
like
when I have to get boxes in freaking Walmart in the back of the meat room and stuff on like a, and just to clarify with people, like I'm straight up afraid of heights. Like I get kind of shaky, and like I've gotten better at Walmart. It's kind of like every now and then I'll kind of like climb like sometimes I don't want to grab a ladder, so something will be kind of like high up, and I'll just like climb the steel bins that it's in and grab it. When I first started though, I could barely do that, and then I just kind of like trained myself to like, all right, you got to get this ground beef up here on this high thing, so you just got to do it. And my problem with like ladders and stuff is I'll get up on the ladder like the third or fourth step, and sometimes I have to go all the way up. My only problem is the only time I really get scared is when I have to grab something from the top shelf that's kind of heavy on a ladder. I always feel like I'm going to fall off. And like,
right.
You know, and so sometimes I'll just kind of like, all right, I got to like just drop this or whatever on the ground or whatever, just because like I can't. Like, it's just, my knees get more shaky and everything when I'm up high. And so, like, yeah, I can't even imagine being in construction. And, like, I wouldn't survive the job just because I'd be deathly afraid of such high points. Like, but,
right.
You were saying?
Lucky for me, I'm not afraid of heights. I actually thought being up there was cool. Like, when I was working on the roof, I loved it. I am, like, hundreds of feet up in the air and just overlooking everything, and I was like, man, this is cool.
Oh yeah, I bet the view is amazing. Like, and that's the difference with me is I love a good high view, but if I like look down or whatever, I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and I actually had an instance where, now, if you were a roofer, O'Neill's safety thing was you could be 6 feet from the edge. Anything past 6 feet from the edge, you had to be tied off. My company was 15 feet, which 15 feet that's quite a ways back. But one day I had to get on this roof, and it was like, now mind you, it rained for like 3 days straight, and it was really, really cold the night before, like in the 30s. So it like froze. So we had to go up on the roof, like the very top roof. And it was all ice. So we're like, like we ain't working up here. You're out of your mind. I mean, it was wide, like, and it wasn't pitched or anything like that, but still, like, there's a fall risk there. You don't want to be on a ladder up on that roof, regardless if it's flat or not. So we got stuck on this other roof. Now, the roof was only about maybe 17 feet long, so there was not a whole lot of wiggle room, and there was nowhere to tie our harnesses off. And I had to walk around this big motor, and I lost my footing, and I slipped. And if I wouldn't have been holding on to that motor, because that roof was pitched, I would have fell probably like 60 feet straight down to concrete.
Dang.
And I got up. I laughed about that one. I got up. I was like, whew. And I laughed it off. It scared the crap out of me. But still, like, I was just like, oh, man. I literally like, flirted with death there for a second. It was pretty scary. But this damn Sledgehammer. So they do weekly safety walks. O'Neill, all these people, and they're going. And I was like behind them because they were going where I had to go. And there's like a pack. There was like 12 people. So obviously they take up a lot of space and there's constant equipment. And I really couldn't get around them. And I'm really glad I didn't. So another contractor, I don't know what they were. I think they were welding like the vents, like the ductwork. And now when you're in a lift, and they were max height, they were 80 feet on the third floor. When you're up there, when you're in a lift, it is mandatory that your tools are tethered. They make tool tethers, and you have to have your tools tied off, like to the lift. So if you drop them, obviously the tether will catch them. They're not going to fall. These people had a 10-pound sledgehammer, 80 feet in the air, not tied off, and they dropped it. And when I say it was inches from crushing this guy's skull, it was inches. If he wouldn't have stopped and looked up to see if anybody was in that lift, and he would have took even the slightest step forward, that would have went down through the top of his hard hat and he would have died.
Dang.
Inches. Like,
so it was probably wasn't even. So you're saying like where they were at up top was pretty much high enough to like that was like it would have gained enough speed to kill.
Oh, they were 80 feet in the air, and it fell on a metal grate, a sledgehammer. So obviously the weighted end came down first. Not the handle, the weighted end came down first. It hit a metal grate, like a steel grate, and actually like broke some of the little cross beams in it.
Dang.
Right. It definitely, and if I would have went around these people, it would have, I would have been done right there. I would have never known.
That's crazy.
Because they actually did an experiment there where they took our hard hats that I wore for the company, and they put it on a watermelon, brand new watermelon, and they dropped a bolt, just a tiny little bolt. It wasn't even anything big, 25 foot down a pipe, and it went through the top of the hard hat and shattered a watermelon. Imagine a 10-pound sledgehammer.
Yeah.
From 80 feet in the air.
Yeah.
Right. Hard hats. Listen, I thanked God for hard hats at least once a day working down there. I can't tell you how many times, like, I've cracked my head. Like, I've never had anything fall on me, but how many times, like, I've smacked my head off beams and stuff, and I'm like, thank God for hard hats. But they're really not as protective as what you think. Like, they will protect you from bumps and stuff like that, but if there's something falling from any more than, like, 10 feet, forget it. Lights out. I mean, it may not kill you, but you're going to feel it. It's going to
need to go back to, like, World War II, where it's, like, it's basically just made out of, like, steel. Like, instead of just that cheap plastic.
Right.
I mean, at least
I understand they
plastic,
do it for, like, the weight. It is. Hard hats are plastic. I mean, they're lightweight and they're comfortable. Well, I wouldn't say they're comfortable, but, like, you know.
Oh, yeah, they're wearable.
For that purpose, right, yeah.
Not too heavy on the neck.
It was just the job site, just the way it was ran was just too much. And like I said, like it got to the point that like it was starting to worry Trista. And not only that, like towards the end of it, I was so mad that I was just blowing up on like my best friend. I flipped out on him over a microwave in a lunch tent full of people there, like screamed at him. And I was just like what the hell?
Yeah, that's kind of when it clicked. You were like, oh man, I'm pulling that side of myself out that I don't want to do, and I can't do it, you know. My
friend just went back down there to work and was telling me that they're doing mandatory 7 12-hour shifts. You have to work 12-hour shifts 7 days a week.
Dang.
There's no way.
Yeah, there's
even
there's
Trista
no
said, like, it wouldn't matter how much money I was making. She's like, I'd be so pissed. Like, I would never see you. Like, we wouldn't talk. I would never see you. And I was like, I don't want that. You know, I would rather come back. And I'm actually going back to my old job. I start tomorrow, which is why I'm kind of glad we're doing this today. But, you know, I was just like, I'd rather go back there and deal with dumb, idiotic customers than have to put up with the management that I put up down there. Like, I will take the $4 pay cut, whatever. I don't care. Like, it's just not worth my mental stability.
So any leads on future construction sites that you think, you know, like anything that maybe you can, like, I mean, obviously you're going to go into each one, like, is it going to be like the last one? You know, it's like, is it going to be like how it was? And I would assume most likely not. But you never know, so, I mean... I
don't think so either.
You know,
I mean, if somebody with 30-plus years of experience is telling me this is the worst job site he's ever been on...
Yeah.
You know, like, I feel like I just...
Like you said, it was a learning experience, and that's just kind of like how you have to look at things sometimes.
Right, and I want to stick with the electrical thing. I've looked into residential electric, because, I mean, that's just what's more... available to me in my area that, you know, I don't have to travel long distances for, because I want to be home every night, you know, like,
yeah, something close.
So yeah, so I've been looking into that, but like right now doing that because it's all on new construction, you know, houses with no walls, no insulation. Obviously, like, we just had our first snowfall of the year. It's a little too cold for that now, so there's really not a whole lot of places doing it. But I'm still keeping my eyes open, but I'll probably be back at Nike for the season, and I'm gonna just, like I said, I want to stay with this whole electrical thing, because I really like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you never know where something like that's gonna take you, and like, I never would have thought I'd end up at Walmart, but once I got there, I was like, you know what, this is probably, I mean, it's not where I want to end up, but it's like the best job that I've had so far. So as long as I keep going upwards, you know, like uphill on better and better, then I'm happy, and good money is good money. And easy money is easy money. Like, it's just, it's not, it's like, because what I do is really not that hard as long as you just, the weekends are the hardest, and the customers are definitely the weirdest. I'll just say that. I can't tell you how many times I've had somebody like, hey, there's these 2 oxtails right here. Do you have any more in the back? In the back of my head, I'm like, what's wrong with the 2 you have? Like, I don't know why people are so freaking particular about every little thing. And it's like, it's freaking, like, you're, like, a lot of the times, it's like a Saturday or Sunday, and they don't understand that, like, I'm trying to get a lot of other stuff done right now, and I have very limited time to do so. And whenever they stop me, in which it's a part of my job to serve customers, it's fine. I don't look at it like every customer is annoying, because some of them aren't. But there are some that's like, they're just trying to kind of take advantage of your time, and they're kind of rude and stuff. It's like,
exactly.
It's just gonna happen. It comes with the territory. But mostly I enjoy my job, and definitely want to do something else. But until I get there, then whatever. But
just gotta stick it out. And we got Black Friday coming up. Oh dear Lord.
Dear Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Walmart's gonna be so. We already got freaking turkeys and everything put out. It's just.
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of this doesn't have a price tag on it. Like, okay, let me go print one out. Like,
and I was gonna point out too, because I was thinking about it, and like what I was gonna say and how this conversation was gonna go. And I feel like I've said this for the last 2 podcasts, so this will be the second time. Literally, so much has changed since the last time we talked,
and it's gonna be a tradition at this point, because like. And it will. I already know it will, because you start your old job tomorrow. So that's already like, well, that's another thing where it's like you're going back to that, and it's like, so it's great to look. It's awesome to look forward to, like, the idea that like each podcast with Dustin's gonna be like something new to talk about, like, and something, because I think Dustin might be one of the busiest gentlemen that I have ever met and talked to, because you're always moving, you're always doing your thing, and but I look up to it just because you're trying to, like, I guess you're trying to find your place and like figure out like what do you want to do for the rest of your life, and that can be hard, because I still really don't know. So it's one of those things.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like,
But my wedding, in case you were wondering, Travis, is May 22nd of 2021. Okay, so you got like a year and a half.
Oh, dang.
We didn't want to do 2020. Well, we didn't want to do 2020 just because, like, man, weddings are flippin' expensive.
Yeah.
They're ridiculous. And we got our date, obviously, I just told you. And just the other day, like, we figured out like our color palette and how we want to do it. So it's pretty exciting. But yeah, like you said, every time you talk to me, it's something different. Like, my life since I got with Trista has just like been nonstop. Like, it has just moved so fast. Because it's funny, because like our first ever podcast, I was like, yeah, like, I joined this team and I couldn't give you any information. And it's like the next time we do it, it's like, oh, hey, I have a girlfriend and I'm the stepfather to 2 kids and my map's out. And now it's like, hey, I'm getting married.
Each episode is different stages of Dustins MC's life.
Right.
It's literally but not even that far apart. It's like this has all been within the same year, because I just recently started the podcast.
Yeah, and then it's like the next one I'm gonna be like, I
had 7 more kids. Wait, what? Like,
hey, Trista's pregnant. I'm gonna have one of my own. I don't know. I don't know what
little
can
Dustin Jr., little MC Jr.
Right. And then like a year from now, like on our 15th episode, I'm going to be like, I'm the CEO of Nike. Like, I mean,
just imagine like a little Dustin running around with like an even higher pitched voice. Hey, what's up, guys?
My voice is already high enough pitched.
We both have like light voices, and I think for videos it really works. Like when people, I mean, like, because you can get that hey, what's going on, guy? You know, it's just like really high pitched and fast. We both kind of talk kind of fast.
It's energetic.
Yeah, it's energetic, and like, but I would still love if God was just like, yeah, I'm gonna give you this one person's voice. It would have to be Markiplier's. His voice is so deep,
right?
Yes, so freaking soothing. He's just like, hey, what's going on?
I always keep thinking like, if I ever have a baby, it's gonna come out like, it's gonna come out with a dad bod, a beard, and baby ears.
Did you hear about that whole thing with Markiplier, by the way? Like the whole
with YouTube?
Yeah, like the freaking people got banned like on his live stream. I'm really happy that got fixed. I've heard good things about the I forgot her name, the CEO of YouTube. Like she's
Susan Wojcicki or whatever her name is.
she's supposedly really, you know, good at like caring and like helping, trying to help the little people and all that. Which a lot of people are saying like it's just because he's got a big subscriber base that he even got their attention, but I was really surprised. Like I was like, "Dang, Mark, you're like giving it to YouTube." Like he was mad, and I don't blame him. Like I'd feel the same way. But I respect him for coming out with that video. Like, hey, this is a problem, and I am not okay with it. He wasn't putting the icing on it. He was just like, "No, I'm gonna give it to you straight. YouTube right now, you suck." Like, because sometimes they do, and we need creators to say that more often because there's a lot of stuff that YouTube does that literally makes no sense, and it's just, you know, I'm glad that that's getting fixed, but it makes me more, even though I'm glad for him, but it makes me fearful for like a channel like mine or somebody smaller that's like, you know, if that's something like that happens to one of us, I don't think, I don't know, like, I mean, the power of the internet, I'm not going to be like negative and say that nothing would get fixed, but I think it would take longer is all I'm trying to say. Like, I think to get their attention and everything. So it makes me nervous for like, I'm glad he said in his video, like, hey, nobody freaking spam anything in live streams ever because it might happen to you. And number one, YouTube screwed up for one reason. Like, you shouldn't just disable accounts. Like, at least give them a suspension or something, but not like full blown, you can't have this account anymore or your own videos. Number two, like, you know, it may be, it's a system problem, but like, it's just, they need to be more on point with that kind of stuff. Like, I know that there's a lot going on, and even he said it in the video, like, there's a lot YouTube has to deal with and everything, but that right there was uncalled for, and like, there's no excuse for it, and I'm glad that he. And if that was a channel
our size, that would have been so hard to bounce back from, and so demoralizing and like unmotivating. Like, you wouldn't want to continue after something like that, you know? It would suck. No, because there are people like us that really like put everything into this, you know, and to have that taken away over something stupid would be awful. I just want to point out to you too, because I was watching one of your videos. It was the beer battered onion ring chips. Yes. Which we don't have here. Hint, hint. Care package. God, man, something in my throat. So, and it was funny because like I saw like a picture of, it wasn't even a picture. It was like a recommended video, and Jeremy McKinnon was like in the thumbnail, and I was like, damn, like he looks like the love child between you and I.
I kind of believe it because and Ashley has confirmed, because I have said like, dang, there's a lot about Dustin that looks like me, and then freaking and then Ashley confirmed that. It's like, yeah, like 'cause, I don't know, like there's just a lot of similarities. I think we both have, like, we've probably definitely had some Irish in our DNA.
It's the beards, man. It's the beards, and my beard is actually like, it's pretty long right now. I'm kind of happy with it. I haven't had it this long in a while. Trista's been keeping it trimmed up and keeping me looking good.
Well, thank God for she's the best. A freaking fiance that can trim up. It's like the one thing that Ashley's never been a part of or good at, is she has never learned anything that's like hair or anything. So, but yeah. Well,
Trista went to cosmetology in high school, so I really lucked out. I don't have to pay for haircuts anymore. And she does better than places I went and paid money.
That's good.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I usually just go on down, even though it's kind of pricey sometimes, but I'll hit up Sport Clips because they do so well. Like, they do, like, it depends on the person, too. I've had girls there that just kind of, like, I've had them, like, cut and talk at the same time to others, and I'm just like, can you, like, in my head, I'm like, can you please just focus? Because, like, and sometimes I'm on limited time, and I'm not going to be a guy that's like, hey, like, you know, like, I'm going to be rude, but every now and then you'll get the ones that just kind of half do it, but it's funny because the woman that did it the best, I literally have gone back because you can request a certain hairstylist there, and I have gone back and literally was like, is she here? And like they were like, oh no, she moved to freaking Cersei, and I'm like, okay. Like every time I get one that I really like and does a good job and is nice, then they rather move away or they quit or whatever, and so I still don't have like a permanent stylist there, but yeah, they do really good, and every now and then I'll get the MVP because it's freaking
it's the
massaging head. It's just so I almost go to sleep every time.
Like it's like, so you think about it, it's like, oh man, Dustin gets free haircuts from his fiance, that's awesome, and it looks good. But then it's like, there's a risk involved. It's like, if I pissed her off and she has clippers in her hand, who suffers?
So don't be talking no smack, Dustin, while she has scissors.
And I just want to point out, Travis, from one engaged man to an almost married man, do not ever take your fiance / very soon to be wife to Arby's and let her get a chicken sandwich. Don't do it.
Why?
Because I have put up with a gassy girl for like 3 days. And it's just not like sandwich? It was definitely the chicken sandwich, because she's never farted like that. And I'll tell you what, it's like, it wasn't just like innocent little twos. I farted. No, like they stunk. Gagged me, stunk. Like she could have choked a maggot. Like, and it, like the worst thing was she never did it where there was airflow. It was just hot, stagnant air. Like today I come in the room. I didn't hear her fart, but I smelt it. And the only reason I did was because like I thought she was being all cute. She's like, oh babe, come here, give me a hug. And she like pulled me down, and I was like, what the hell just died in your butt? Because like this is disgusting.
Oh, I wish I could freaking like have someone like within the next couple of days like draw an animated like little thing of what you just described, like just her like holding you.
I'll give you a story that can be animated. All right, listen. So we shower together, we save water, whatever. It's cool, you know, like we're grown adults. That happens. I'm sure you've jumped in the shower with your wife.
Well, yeah.
It's normal, right? Couples shower together. Yeah, exactly. So like we're in there today, actually, just before we jumped on this podcast, and she's in there just ha ha ha. I'm like, okay, like I'm
and it's the shower part, so it's really wet.
Yes,
and
the
nasty.
shower parts. Oh my god. You've watched Phineas and Ferb, right?
Not really, but
okay, well, Perry the Platypus, look it up after this, because I promise you're going to message me pissing your pants. Look up Perry the Platypus and listen to the sound he makes, because she farted like that and it sounded like that twice. And then the one time we're in there, she's just looking at me, and Trista does these weird fucking faces where she just stares at me and I laugh because I get really awkward. Yeah. And then, like, she farts, but then she starts laughing, so her fart is going with her laugh. She's like,
yeah. Ashley's done that before. Like, she'll let a big one, and then because she farted, she starts laughing, and it's literally coming out with the laugh. It's exactly what it is. I guess that's just the girl thing, like, apparently, because...
Dude, my fiance out-farts me 100%. Like, I have little baby pussy farts compared to hers. My 3-year-old farts better than I do. Like, I'm jealous. Like, the only times I have good ones are when I'm on the toilet shitting hot lava. Like, I can't win with farts. I can't do
it. You know what's ironic about this whole thing is, like,
that's how we started the last podcast.
We're close to the hour, and we were like slowly ending this episode with talking about farts, whenever before it's how it started. It's kind of hilarious.
Right. It reminds me of that Fast and Furious thing, like the last one they made, like the one where Paul Walker died in the middle of it, and they're like, oh my god, they ended it how it started. I just pictured that. Like, you and I are in separate cars just driving on different roads right now. We still haven't watched Detective Pikachu. We're going to watch it tonight. However, we've been watching a great show. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's on Netflix. You should watch it with Ashley. It's called Atypical.
That's what?
It's called Atypical.
Oh.
It's about this kid that's like autistic, and he's on the spectrum, and he's like trying to find like a love life and like date. And it's like, it really kind of puts you inside the mind of people with autism. I don't know if the kid that plays the main character who has autism actually has it, but if he does not, he does a fantastic job of portraying it. Like, it's just done so well. It's very interesting. And it's like funny but serious. I don't know. I like just watching. Like, I can kind of tell you and I like a lot of similar things. I feel like you and Ashley would really enjoy that show.
Probably.
I'm just saying. Check it out.
So many shows that we're like working on and kind of just going around all of them. She's on Bates Motel, and
Bates Motel is so good.
Which is like, it's so dark sometimes. I'm like, dang, like what the heck is happening? Because I'll just walk in on it, and I've just been slowly getting context of it just through watching her watch it when I walk in on it or whatever, and it's interesting for sure. And the only way I know the mom is through the freaking Godzilla King of the Monsters movie that she was like in it, and that was the first thing I ever saw her in. And then I look at that show and I'm like, oh, okay, here's where all of her acting chops are, because she's good.
Vera Farmiga.
And the freaking kid is like in that other show where he's autistic, and like The
Good Doctor.
The Good Doctor. Yeah, he's good in that too. Like, he's good in both of those. Like, really creepy and really jokery. Like, I get Joker vibes. I'm like, this is a kid on Bates Motel slowly becoming insane. Like, it's like, it's really weird. But
So, I have a quick question before we end this. Are you bleeping out the swear words?
Probably not, because it's just kind of a casual thing.
Dang it. I was really just about to string them all together for you just to make editing suck, but I'm not going to do that now.
I mean, I don't know, like, who knows? Maybe I'll feel like it. Maybe I'll feel like throwing it in.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. It's actually a Blink-182 song called Family Reunion. I don't know if you ever heard of it or not.
I don't think I have, but
yeah. I'm not going to say it. Because it's there's some bad words in there.
It's just bad. Like, it's...
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I dropped the C-U-N-T word.
Uh-oh.
In the song. Well, we're not going to do that. See you next Tuesday.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's definitely in there.
Oh.
I just like ran through it in my head. Who, Travis?
Huh?
Yeah.
I told you Travis looks like me.
You guys look similar.
Travis is my long-lost twin brother. We have talked about this. Trista looked you up, and she's like, oh my god, he looks like you.
Yeah, it's the facial hair. You have the same mustache and everything.
I know.
Like literally one time, like, I think one of your, I don't know if it was an old vlog or one of the, like, it was some video that you made, and I paused it, and it was like, I don't remember why, but for some reason it was like, okay, never mind. I was about to say the lower half of your face, but no, it was actually paused on you, and then Ashley like covered her hand over your eyes, and then was like, okay, yeah, that's the bottom part of your face. I'm like, that's crazy.
That's so weird. You should watch my most recent video of my Funko Pop collection.
Yeah, I saw that drop today, and I was going to, just because I collect them too. Maybe not as seriously as you. I'm not sure how many you have, but like, I have Pops, but I also have like other kinds of figures too, like the more like realistic and accurate to the films. And,
I like that stuff too. Yeah. But
the Pops are cool
like the
because they're like of kind of a comedic, exaggerated version of the character, which I like. Because like right now I'm looking at my Chewbacca. And I love the bobblehead ones. He's a bobblehead, and
all the Avengers ones are bobbleheads. I think all the Marvel and all the Star Wars are bobbleheads, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. There might be other ones, but I know strictly Marvel and Star Wars are all bobbleheads, no matter what. So, yeah, it's cool.
You gonna get Disney Plus?
You know, I downloaded it today, and I couldn't do anything because it kept crashing. But yes, I'm getting Disney Plus.
They probably gotta do some improving because it's like a lot of people jumping on it and whatnot. But
I honestly might like just do that bundle. Did you see the bundle deal they have?
Hulu or whatever, and something
with Hulu
about
and ESPN Plus. Yeah. It's like it's Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus for the same price that I pay for Hulu.
Nice. Yeah, we're gonna get it. We haven't purchased it yet, but I'm definitely excited about the Mandalorian, and I like how
you get a week free trial.
Dude, I love how they're doing the Mandalorian, where they're gonna release it. I think once a week. They're not gonna just do the Netflix streaming at once. So you kind of like get to get excited about like waiting, like all shows used to be, and all of that stuff.
Right. And I read a list too of like everything that was on there at launch, and it's absolutely insane. Like for only $6.99 a month, like it's a no-brainer. Like, you know, like right now my daughter is absolutely obsessed with Elsa, and I saw Frozen was on there, and I was like, man. And then I was like, okay, like it'd be cool for her.
Yeah, I still gotta watch Frozen 1. And then I started seeing like Frozen 2's coming.
yes. And then I stepped going. I was like, oh my god, The Nightmare Before Christmas. And I'm still going. I'm like, oh my god, like all these movies are on there. Like what the like I need it in my life. So we're definitely probably gonna do it. I'm just gonna give it a couple days and kind of let them fix their shit before I give them my money.
Well, I guess we better wrap it up since we're about an hour in and over that. And
it is 11:30 at night where I live, and I have Detective Pikachu to watch. And I'm gonna be really upset hearing Deadpool in a Pikachu voice.
Dude, you're gonna love it though. You're gonna love it. Like as Pikachu says, it's very twisty. Like that's basically, yeah.
I can't wait.
It's a good one. I don't think you're gonna expect the end. But anyway, so guys, thank you so much for listening to this. I'd like to thank Dustins MC for coming on. Definitely, if you haven't yet, go check out his channel. He's doing Minecraft things over there and building. And you know what? Congrats to Trista for the channel and everything, and like actually keeping it going. Because I noticed I haven't watched it yet, but I want to. But like, and Ashley is probably gonna subscribe to Trista as well because she dropped a Sims freaking 4 video, and I'm like, oh okay. She's has 2 Sims videos. She's like trying to do all of it, you know, and that's amazing. Yeah. Like try all these different things. And that's the only thing I would say to Trista is just if you're gonna do variety, just do it all from the very beginning like she's doing, because it's people are gonna love that, and I really love variety channels like that have like all these different things going for it.
That's why I've been trying to kind of like branch out on my channel too. Like I feel like it's established enough now that like I understand, you know, people are not going to watch me if I don't upload a Minecraft video, but like my Funko Pop collection, man, I feel like there are people that watch me that like collect that stuff, and they're like, man,
how I always see it is if the people that are true subscribers are the ones that care about the person and not necessarily, I mean, it's cool to subscribe for content, but people that really stick around for a long time are the people that care about the creator, and more of like whatever you upload, it's cool. Like that's kind of how I see it, and that's like one reason that I've been okay with having a podcast is just like I like to just have these like conversations with the people, because when people are listening, it's just, it may be me and another person, but like I'm the host, like it's me. Like you're getting fully uncut, like just me and like how I speak and how everything is without trying any sort of product. Right. Like it's just the way it is.
That's how I am too, man. I think that's why like you and I get along so well, and people honestly kind of gravitate towards our channel. It's just because like we're us. Like that's what I like. I love going back and listening to our podcast because it's just banter. You know what I mean? Like it's just us being us. And I feel like the day that we meet in person, like it's just gonna be so natural. Yeah. Like, you know, like we just have that connection and that friendship. And honestly, man, I love it. I love you, dog.
I love you too, man. And like we definitely gotta do some food reviews in person and everything. I'm gonna lose my mind about that, because whenever you're down here or I'm over there or whenever
you're coming to my
happen,
wedding. And Chick-fil-A is catering my goddamn wedding.
I'm gonna be like review at Dustin MC's wedding, like
right.
Just snap the internet in half with these like super meta things.
They have Chipotle and Chick-fil-A catering their wedding, and then like, well, they like do like a cut like an hour later. We're both shitting in the stall, like one away from each other. Like, bro, it was so good.
It just cuts to like a shot of a stall door, and you just hear echoes of farts.
Dude, I would piss my pants.
That's the power of editing right there. You can make anything funny. But
absolutely.
Anyway, guys, yeah, definitely thank you so much for listening, and definitely look forward to more podcast episodes. I'm gonna try to put more of these out. I haven't uploaded one in a bit, but it's just life's been busy.
Can I make a suggestion about the podcast?
Go ahead.
You should do an episode with Trista.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I think that'd be sweet.
Yeah,
I'll
definitely.
Talk to her about
like, she seems like a cool person, and like and I mean, obviously because y'all are engaged, so if like she has to be cool to know you. Like that's basically like it's one of those things.
That would be awesome. And then maybe we can do like a couples podcast too, where you and Ashley sit down and talk to Trista and I both.
That too, or even just like if you ever just want to bring her on with us three as well, that's literally anything is an option. Anything under the sky is an option.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about it.
All right, man. Well, have a good one. Good luck with the channel and everything, and
you too.
Keep on keeping on, and don't let anybody, as someone else said on YouTube, throw shade at you, especially hammers. And yeah, we'll be definitely talking to Dustin later. I'll see you guys.
Oh yeah.
Trav out, Dustin out, and peace out.
See ya.